Hello everyone. Will Nhat and Hang's love overcome the challenges that lie ahead? Don't take your eyes off the screen. Subscribe to the channel to follow this tearful and surprising story. In the previous episode, due to her terminal illness and the shock of losing her job, Hang didn't want Nhat to continue suffering because of her. In his pain and despair, he made a decision that shocked everyone. He wrote a divorce paper and handed it to the wife he loved most. A divorce paper, a hidden truth, and a heart on the verge of collapse. How will Nhat cope when everything falls apart? And what about Hang? Will he have time to reconsider that heartbreaking decision? Or have things gone too far to turn back? Join us to find out in today's episode. After uttering harsh words that hurt Nhat, Hang felt lost and alone. He walked silently, returning to his small, secluded hut deep in the forest. Hang's face, gaunt from illness, looked even more haggard and tired. In that quiet moment, he began to ask himself, were those harsh words he had just spoken to the wife he loved too cruel? Then he secretly feared again. Would his wife be strong enough to overcome this shock? That worry echoed in his heart, full of unease and torment. He desperately wanted to apologize to his wife. Deep down, he harbored unspoken anguish. He only hoped that one day, his wife would understand why he was forced to make that choice. He loved her so much. He missed her terribly. He feared that, the moment he let go, he would lose her forever, with no chance of turning back. He suddenly recalled the moment he said goodbye. And at that very moment, a sharp pain gripped his heart. As if he himself had just lost the person he loved most. Silent tears streamed down his face. Perhaps this was the first time he had cried so much. Crying for the pain, for the helplessness, and for the love he couldn't hold on to. While his mind was still in turmoil, his mother unexpectedly returned. He quickly turned away, suppressing all the emotions welling up inside him. That pain, he could only keep to himself. The mother hurried into the small hut, her face beaming with rare joy after a long day's work. Today she had earned a little money, so she carefully bought her son some dried food and a few biscuits, a small gift, but one that contained the fullness of a mother's love and worry. As soon as she saw him, she eagerly brought out the food she had bought and excitedly offered it to her son. However, with a mother's intuition, just by looking at his changed face, she suddenly fell silent. She understood that something must have happened to her son. A sadness he was trying to hide. Her mother asked anxiously, her voice filled with worry. What happened to you? Why are your eyes so swollen? Hang gently turned away, trying to avoid her mother's gaze, not wanting her to see the pain she was hiding. He only replied softly, trying to keep his voice calm. Nothing, Mom, it's probably just some dust in my eyes. At that moment, the mother only thought her son was upset about losing his job. She sighed softly, then gently encouraged him, her voice full of love. Don't be sad anymore, son, whatever happened has happened. Go home and talk properly with your wife and mother-in-law. Then gradually find another job. As long as the family is together, any difficulty will eventually pass, son. Hang whispered, her voice low and fading. I'm not sad about losing my job, Mom. His lips trembled slightly, then pressed tightly together. He was afraid that if he said even one more word, the emotions he had been suppressing for so long would burst forth, and he wouldn't be calm enough to hide the painful truth from his mother. After speaking, He slowly looked up at the vast, breathtakingly silent mountain range before him. Amidst the immense, silent space, a feeling of indescribable loneliness welled up inside him. As if, in this vast expanse of land and sky, he was left alone with a pain he couldn't share with anyone. Behind him, his mother silently watched. She said nothing more, only gazing at her thin son standing amidst the vast mountains and forests. In her eyes was worry, sorrow, and a vague premonition that her son was bearing a pain far greater than what he had just said. At this moment, in Nhat's small house, outside the familiar courtyard, her mother also carried many worries in her heart. Yet she quietly continued with her daily tasks, because she understood that, no matter what happens, life must go on, and people must move forward through the worries of their lives. Inside the house, Nhat sat listlessly, silent tears falling incessantly. Perhaps, for her at this moment, everything familiar that had once supported her life seemed to have completely collapsed. She wept for the sincere love she had given him. She wept because she couldn't understand why he treated her like that. From childhood to adulthood, Nhat's life had been filled with so much misfortune. She once thought that when she met Hang, her life would finally be free from suffering and loss. But unexpectedly, what she received was not the peace she had hoped for, but a cruel betrayal that shattered her heart once again. The two were in different parts of the world, but they seemed to share the same heavy heart. Hang remained silently seated there, her face expressionless, her sorrowful eyes drifting with hopeless thoughts. At this moment, the mother slowly sat down beside him and gently confided in him. She asked her son about his future plans, about the path he would take next. She cautiously asked whether he intended to return and tell his wife and mother-in-law about losing his job, so they could work together to overcome the difficult days ahead. Hang remained silent, not saying a word. In his mind, countless conflicting thoughts swirled. He desperately wanted to tell his mother everything, so that he could feel some relief from the heavy burden of suffering weighing on his heart. But in the end, he still chose to remain silent. Hang bowed her head, clenching her hands tightly as if to hold back all the emotions welling up inside her. The words she wanted to say were buried deep in her heart, leaving a heavy void between mother and daughter, where the pain could not yet be named. Far away, Nhat sat silently in that place. She wept incessantly, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. Suddenly, she rushed into the house, trembling as she took the paper her husband had given her. Her eyes scanned the words. Then she burst into tears in despair. It felt as if her legs could no longer support her. Her heart ached as she read those cold words, each word like a knife, cutting deep into the love and trust she had poured her whole life into. She held the paper in her hand, slowly sitting down at the table. Her gaze lingered for a long time on the cold, impersonal words. And then, old memories suddenly flooded back. The happy days they spent together. The simple smiles, the sincere promises they had exchanged. Everything seemed so close. Yet now, it had become painfully distant. The more she thought about it, the more she lost control of herself. The emotions she had been suppressing for so long suddenly burst forth. Her heart trembled with pain. Tears flowed uncontrollably. It seemed that just one more moment, She would completely collapse under this overwhelming pain. No longer in control of herself, Nhat trembled as she clutched the paper in her hand. The words before her eyes seemed to cut even deeper into her heart. In a moment of despair, she clutched the paper tightly, crumpled it up, and tore it to shreds in a choked sob. The pieces of paper fell onto the table, like the shattered fragments of love and trust in her heart at that moment. In a fit of uncontrollable despair, she struggled to her feet. The pent-up pain transformed into trembling and frantic actions. Small flower pots were knocked over one by one. Flower shelves, familiar objects fell to the cold floor. These were all things that she and her husband had meticulously crafted together in the past. Things that once held so much love and hope. Now, as each item shattered, her heart felt torn apart. That happy past, it seemed, could no longer be held back. After all this, she leaned against the cold wall, burying her head and sobbing uncontrollably. Tears mingled with the pent-up pain, a feeling of emptiness and despair that was difficult to describe. Her love, once her refuge, once her hope, was now nothing but shattered pieces, with nowhere to begin picking them up. She unleashed her anger on their shared memories, as if each action were an unspeakable scream. In that moment of losing control, the pain turned into resentment. She hated Hang so much, hated for having loved, hated for having trusted, and hated that those once beautiful memories now caused her heart to ache so intensely. A broken flower lay silently on the ground. The red flower pots shattered, shards of pottery scattered everywhere. The once vibrant red was now blurred and faded. Just like her mood now, shattered, confused, and aching beyond repair. Her emotions were so chaotic at that moment that she didn't know how to describe them. All her feelings were intertwined, jumbled together in pain. In that impulsive moment, she suddenly covered her face and burst into sobbing tears, a torrent of tears that released all the resentment and hurt, that she had been trying to suppress for so long. While Nhat was drowning in his emotional turmoil, far away, Hang couldn't find peace either. He sat there, dazed and lost, as if his soul had drifted away, leaving only a weary body amidst inescapable torment. At this point, the mother realized something very significant was being hidden from Hang. She was certain her son wasn't just upset about losing his job, as he claimed. She insisted on getting to the bottom of it, her voice filled with both worry and sorrow. She took his hand, gently encouraging him. "Son, tell me what's wrong. Telling me will make you feel better. No matter how big the problem is, you're still my mother." As she spoke, her voice suddenly choked up. Tears silently fell, falling out of love for her son, falling out of helplessness at not knowing what burden her son was bearing in his heart. Seeing her son sitting there silently, she felt more pain than any words could express, only wishing she could take some of that suffering for him. Faced with his mother's tears, Hang began to waver. His eyes were red, his gaze trembling, no longer able to avoid hers. Seeing his mother cry for him, his heart ached. Finally, he took a deep breath and began to tell her everything about his story with Nhat. His voice trembled, his nose stinging. Hang looked at her mother, choking back tears, then whispered, "Mom, I've divorced Nhat." He paused for a moment, as if gathering the last of his courage. Yesterday I went to her house, talked things through, and I personally handed her the divorce papers. Although Hang's mother had never been particularly fond of Nhat, and had even disapproved of their marriage, when she heard her son reveal the truth, she was still stunned and shocked. Perhaps she had never imagined that things would go this far, a decision so big, so sudden, that she herself was not prepared to accept it. She looked at Hang, her voice trembling as she asked, "Why did you make such a decision, my child? I saw how much you two loved each other. For so many years, you two have held hands and walked through so many ups and downs in life." At that point, her voice suddenly choked up, because even she couldn't understand why such a strong love could have come to this point. Hang remained silent for a long time. He bowed his head, as if gathering all the remaining courage in his heart, then slowly told his mother that he had thought very carefully about this decision of his. A decision that was not impulsive, but the result of countless sleepless nights of agonizing thought and pain. As she spoke, Hang covered her face with her hands, as if trying to hold back the tears that were welling up, because of the words he had just uttered, words that had pierced his heart unbearably. After a moment of shock, the mother remained silent for a long time. She seemed to be trying to sort out the jumbled thoughts in her heart. Then she spoke softly, her voice slow and heavy. "Think about this again. You two loved each other so much. How could you suddenly break up?" In her words was regret, worry, and a faint hope that it was still possible to turn things around. She became resolute, firmly telling her son that he must not divorce his wife. In that stern gaze, there seemed to be a change. Perhaps, after all, she had gradually developed some love and understanding for Nhat. Or perhaps, deep down, she was harboring her own ulterior motives, which Hang herself couldn't possibly guess at this moment. She looked directly at her son, her voice firm. "I'm your mother, and I don't agree to your divorce. You should think it over carefully, and then go downstairs and have a proper talk with your wife." Faced with her mother's unwavering resolve, Hang could only speak softly, her voice low but clear. "Mom, I've made my decision." He looked up at his mother, his eyes filled with weariness and pain. "Please respect my decision, Mom." Those gentle words, yet contained so much torment and pain, that he was forced to accept alone. Hearing those words, the mother suddenly fell silent. She stood still, not saying another word. Her eyes drooped, as if she had just lost something very significant. All the words she wanted to say were choked in her throat, leaving only the helplessness and silent pain of a mother who realized her son had truly made an unchangeable decision. The small hut remained shrouded in a heavy silence. The unspoken words hung suspended between mother and daughter, like a silent pause for all the torment they had just endured. Elsewhere, Nhat was also facing her own pain, a silent pain, but no less cruel. She sat there, motionless like a soulless person. Her eyes stared blankly into the space in front of her, as if all emotion had been drained away after the outburst. Her mother, having finished her chores downstairs, came upstairs. As soon as she saw her daughter in that state, she choked up, her throat tightening, wanting to say something but unable to utter a word. She just shook her head slightly, her eyes filled with sorrow and helplessness at the harsh circumstances that her daughter was currently enduring. Seeing her daughter sitting there like a lost soul, the mother's heart ached with sorrow. She immediately sat down beside Nhat, gently took her hand, as if wanting to give her daughter some warmth, a little love to comfort her. She sighed softly, then spoke slowly, her voice choked with suppressed emotion. "I'm so sad too, my dear. I truly don't understand why your son-in-law could treat you like this. You've suffered so much already. Why can't you even hold on to your own happiness?" Having said that, she squeezed Nhat's hand more gently, as if wanting to speak for all the pain her daughter was enduring. She loved her daughter terribly. She understood that this shock was too great. So great that her daughter couldn't possibly remain calm. She continued, her voice trembling with grief. "Before, she loved you so much. Always protecting you, treating you so well. And yet, after only a few weeks away on business, how could she have changed so much when she returned?" That question was not just a question, but also the pain, confusion, and helplessness of a mother watching her daughter fall into tragedy without understanding why. Faced with her mother's heart-wrenching words, Nhat could no longer hold back. Her sobs grew louder, choking, broken, as if releasing all the resentment, pain, and despair that she had been trying to endure for so long. She buried her head in her mother's shoulder, tears streaming down her face, as if her whole world had completely collapsed. The mother gently embraced her daughter, her thin hands softly stroking the trembling back. Her voice choked with tears as she whispered, "Come on, my child, try to be strong. Mom's here, don't be afraid." That embrace couldn't erase the pain, but it was enough for Nhat to know that, amidst the ruins of life, she still had a place to lean on. The mother suddenly sighed, her voice trembling as if talking to herself. Could it be that while he was away on business, he met another girl? She paused for a moment, then continued, her eyes showing a barely concealed fear. Could it be a younger, prettier girl that made him change his mind about you? Those words weren't meant as reproach, but as the bewilderment of a mother who couldn't understand why her daughter's happiness had crumbled so quickly. The mother suddenly fell silent, then gently shook her head as if dismissing her earlier speculations. She looked at her daughter, her voice softening. "Perhaps Hang has some hidden sorrow, my dear. Otherwise, how could she let go so easily, when her feelings for you were so deep before?" Still half believing, half doubting, the mother silently pondered for a long time. Finally, she gently squeezed her daughter's hand, as if she had made a decision for herself. She looked at Nhat, her voice slowing but firm. "Things can't go on like this, my child. Whether it's right or wrong, I have to know the truth. I can't watch you suffer forever without doing anything." She gripped her daughter's hand tightly, her voice betraying her anger. "I have to go up there and get to the bottom of this. I need to know exactly what's going on. I can't let my daughter suffer this injustice." In the mother's eyes at that moment, there was both sorrow for her daughter and a determination to seek justice for her daughter, no matter what. Having said that, she stood up, pulling Nhat along with her. Her voice was firm but still full of love. "Calm down, my child. Come with me up there. We need to get to the bottom of this. The mother's hand gripped her daughter's tightly, as if giving her one last bit of strength to face the truth that awaited them. Perhaps what her mother said was exactly what Nhat was harboring in her heart. She nodded slightly, quickly wiping away the tears still clinging to her cheeks. Then silently followed her mother, carrying with her all the pain, confusion, and the longing to hear a clear explanation. The mother and daughter walked silently along the long, desolate road. Each step was heavy, like the journey they were facing, uncertain, aimless, and seemingly without end. To break the heavy silence in the small hut, the mother spoke softly, her voice gentle. "Eat a piece of cake, son." She gently broke the cake, handing it to her son, her eyes betraying her worry. "Eat more, son. I've noticed you've become so thin and frail lately." Those simple words contained so much love and sorrow, of a mother who could only silently care for her child amidst the storms of life. Not wanting to upset his mother, Hang still reached out and took the piece of cake. No matter how delicious the cake was, at this moment, his throat was constricted. His mind was so confused that he couldn't swallow. He just silently held the cake in his hand, as if holding on to a fragile glimmer of peace for his mother, while silently swallowing his pain back down. While eating, she spoke softly, her voice low and slow. "My child, please reconsider divorcing Nhat. You two have been through so many difficulties together. Don't give up on each other just because of a moment of despair." She continued slowly, as if carefully considering each word. "If we separate, where will you live? Should I just stay in this shack forever?" She paused for a moment, then added, "And what about the house downstairs?" Her words seemed to express concern for her son's future, but somewhere in her tone, there seemed to be another worry hidden, making the atmosphere in the shack even heavier and more difficult to decipher. Just as Hang was about to say something more, his mother's gaze suddenly froze. From a distance, on the path leading to the hut, she saw two familiar figures approaching, Nhat and her mother. The atmosphere in that moment seemed to freeze, signaling an inevitable confrontation that was drawing very near. After a long and tiring walk, Nhat and her mother finally arrived in front of Hang's house. Without a second's hesitation, the mother grabbed her daughter's hand and pulled her straight inside, her eyes filled with determination. Clearly she was ready to tell Hang everything. At this moment, Hang also stood up and walked out with her mother to meet his wife and mother-in-law. He took a deep breath, trying to remain calm, although he knew deep down that this confrontation would not be easy. The moment they met, before Nhat and her mother could even speak, Hang spoke first, trying to sound decisive and strong. "What are you two doing here? I already made it clear yesterday." Saying that, he pointed directly at Nhat, his eyes turning cold. "Have you signed the divorce papers yet?" The question was delivered dryly, like a knife cutting straight through the already suffocatingly tense atmosphere. Ignoring Hang's loud, tense voice, Nhat's mother remained calm, gently turning to ask his mother, "Aren't you going to work today? It's so good to have you home like this." Then she clasped her daughter's hand tightly, slowly continuing, each word clear but revealing her suppressed emotions. "I brought my daughter here to get to the bottom of this. My son-in-law wants to leave my daughter. What is the reason? Hang's mother replied softly, I've been away for work for the past few days and just got back. I only just heard about this from my son. But before she could finish her sentence, Hang interrupted loudly. I already explained everything to you and your daughter yesterday. His voice was sharp, as if wanting to shut down any further explanation, making the atmosphere of the conversation even more tense and heavy. Hearing Hang's words, Nhat's mother was slightly taken aback. A pang of sadness welled up in her heart. She slowly asked, her voice a mixture of bewilderment and sorrow, Son-in-law, what are you saying? Why have you changed the way you address me? No matter what happens, you still have to call me mother-in-law and wife. Those words weren't harsh, but they were enough to make the listener clearly feel the distance that was gradually forming between those who were once a family. Hang frowned, her voice hardening, almost cold. That's a good point, isn't it? It's all over. We're no longer mother and daughter, nor husband and wife anymore. He paused for a moment, his gaze resolute. You should correct your way of addressing me to suit the situation. Those blunt words fell like a cold cut, causing the space in front of the hut to suddenly fall silent in pain and shock. In that moment, the familiar warmth and the loving feelings he once had suddenly flooded back into Hang's heart, causing him to freeze for a moment. But then, as if forcing himself to come to his senses, he resolutely pushed Nhat away. His voice turned cold, trying to sound decisive. This woman. We're over. I suggest you don't act like this again. Those harsh words not only hurt Nhat, but also cut deeper into Hang's own heart, where love still lingered, even though he was trying to deny it cruelly. At that moment, Nhat's mother couldn't believe what she had just heard. She shook her head, her voice trembling, but still trying to remain calm. No, you are still my son-in-law. No matter what happens, I will not accept that form of address. She looked straight at Hang, slowly continuing, each word seemingly from the bottom of her heart. You must not call me and my daughter aunt or cousin Dot. We will always be one family. She stared at Hang without blinking, her voice choked with resentment. I've only been away on business for a few days. How could you change so quickly? She paused for a moment, then asked directly, the question trembling but sharp as a knife. Or, have you found someone else? As soon as the words were spoken, the atmosphere froze. Nhat stood stunned behind her, and Hang was speechless, because that question was not just a mother's suspicion, but the greatest pain that she feared having to face on behalf of her daughter. She lowered her voice, her eyes filled with pleading as she looked at Hang. Or, is there a reason you can't tell me? If there's something bothering you, please tell me, son-in-law. Her voice trembled. No longer a question, but the plea of a mother, hoping to save a family on the brink of collapse. Tell me. Maybe there's still a way to resolve things. At this moment, Hang spoke again, her voice dry and decisive. Whether I have someone else or not, is none of your business. The matter between me and your daughter is over. He turned away, avoiding everyone's gaze, then uttered a cold farewell. Please take your daughter home. Those words fell heavily, as if Hang herself had slammed the final door shut, leaving behind Nhat's pained gaze. and the stunned, choked sobs of the two mothers. As soon as Hang finished speaking, Nhat's mother spoke up, her voice trembling with suppressed emotion. "I don't agree with my son-in-law abandoning my daughter." She looked directly at Hang, her eyes red and teary. "Before, you two loved each other so much, son-in-law. You overcame so many difficulties, so much hardship together." Her words choked in mid-sentence, because she herself couldn't understand why such a deep love could be on the verge of breaking up so quickly and heartbreakingly. Hang spoke up again. He knew very well that the words he was about to say would once again be like a knife cutting deep into the heart of the wife he still loved. Hang's voice was almost a growl, the words pouring out in a fit of uncontrollable rage. "Didn't you and your daughter understand what I said? I've stopped loving your daughter." He clenched his fists, his eyes reddening with suppressed anger. "Do you know what I've endured all these years, being with your daughter? Friends, outsiders, they mocked me. Marrying a mute woman. Marrying a woman who can't bear children." His voice trembled, filled with resentment and bitterness. "I've suffered enough." Those words, uttered like knives, not only pierced Nhat's heart, but also silenced the entire space in agonizing pain. Because there are wounds, once spoken, nothing can ever be undone. Before anyone could recover from those words, Hang pointed at Nhat again, continuing to utter cold and cruel words, denying even the flaws she had never chosen, directly touching the deepest pain of a woman. Each word was like a cut, leaving Nhat speechless, while the two mothers were stunned to the point of breathlessness. Ironically, in the very moment those words were spoken, Hang's heart stopped, his breath caught in his chest, because he understood better than anyone else. He was destroying the person he once loved most, and also stabbing himself in the heart. At that moment, Nhat stood silently beside him, her throat choked, unable to utter a single word. Tears streamed down her face incessantly. She trembled as she placed her hand on her chest, as if wanting to tell him that every word he had just spoken was suffocating her heart, causing unbearable pain. Then, as if she could no longer control herself, Nhat rushed forward and hugged him tightly. The embrace was trembling and weak, but it contained all the love and pleading that she couldn't put into words, as if begging him that she still loved him so much. Please don't treat her so cruelly. Amidst the incessant tears, that embrace was both a clinging and the final desperate plea of a woman who still loved. Faced with the evident pain of the one he loved, Hang felt as if he could no longer stand firm. His heart ached, his eyes wavered for a moment, because each of her tears was piercing his heart. But then, he gritted his teeth, forcing himself to turn his back on those emotions. Hang forcefully pushed her away, as if only in that way could he uphold the cruel decision that he had made. Standing beside her, Nhat's mother could no longer bear it. Hang's harsh words were the last straw. She took a step forward, her voice trembling with anger and sorrow. "Why could you say such cruel things? Do you know how much each word you say hurts my daughter's heart?" Tears streamed down her face, but her gaze remained resolute. "You weren't like this before. You used to love and protect her like a precious treasure. And now, how could you be so heartless as to say such things to my daughter?" The questions rang out. Not only the outrage of a mother who had been insulted, but also the profound pain of witnessing the woman who once called her mother, now, word by word, shattering her daughter's heart. Then, turning to Hang's mother, her voice suddenly softened, almost pleading. "Sister, I beg you, please say a few words for me." She clenched her hands, tears streaming down her face. "Please advise your son-in-law to reconsider. Give them another chance, let him come back and live with Nhat." That plea was no longer about self-respect or right and wrong, but simply the heartfelt plea of a mother, trying to hold onto the last vestiges of happiness for her daughter. At that moment, Hang's mother stood still for a moment. No one knew whether it was because she didn't have much affection for Nhat, or because she completely believed in and chose to side with her son's decision. Then she spoke, slowly but firmly. "My son has made his decision. I hope you and your mother will go back." The short sentence, without further explanation, was like a cold door closing, leaving behind the stunned, humiliated, and pained Nhat and her mother. And the atmosphere in front of the shack was heavy and suffocating. Hearing those words, Nhat's mother was stunned for a moment. She couldn't believe her ears. Her eyes, filled with both pain and anger, turned to Hang's mother. She choked back tears as she questioned. "How could you say that? They're husband and wife." Tears streamed down her face, but her voice still trembled with resentment. "Why didn't you nurture their relationship? Why didn't you advise them to preserve their happiness? How can a mother stand idly by and watch her children's relationship fall apart like this?" The question that emerged from the depths of her heart was not just a reproach, but also the pain and helplessness of a mother who was witnessing her daughter being driven out of that marriage. In bitterness and despair, the overwhelming pressure, coupled with a sudden relapse of his illness, caused Hang's face to turn noticeably pale. He staggered slightly, struggling to maintain his balance. Afraid that even a moment longer would cause everyone to notice something unusual about him, Hang forced himself to end it all quickly. He spoke, his voice hoarse and weary, but still trying to sound resolute. "Okay, please take your daughter home. I've already made my decision. Please don't bother me here anymore." Hang's mother also spoke up, her voice firm, showing no hesitation. "You too should go home. My son no longer loves Nhat. Everything should end here." Faced with the relentless harsh words from Hang and her mother, Nhat's mother finally couldn't hold back any longer. All her patience, all her humble pleas, burst forth in that moment. She trembled with anger, her voice choked with emotion. "I never imagined you people could be like this." She paused, tears welling up, but her voice hardened. "In that case, so be it. I don't need it anymore," she continued, her voice trembling with resentment. "Consider my daughter unfortunate to have a husband like that." Then, she turned and clasped Nhat's hand tightly, her eyes resolute despite the tears that continued to fall. "Come on, son, let's go home. I don't want a son-in-law like this." Nhat felt utterly devastated at that moment. All that she had ever hoped for, an explanation, a moment of compassion, or even just a small sign that their love still existed, had now crumbled. In that instant, she realized that the man she loved most had truly turned his back on her. But Nhat still couldn't accept that reality. Like someone just pulled from the brink of disaster, she suddenly rushed forward and hugged Hang, a hurried, trembling embrace, as if letting go would cause all the love of her life to vanish forever. She held him tightly, as if trying to cling to what remained of a broken love, of happy days that she never wanted to let go of. In that moment, Nhat lost her reason, lost her self-respect. Only a heart desperately clinging to the one she loved, as if clinging to the last breath of happiness. Hang felt the full extent of the trembling pain in his wife's arms. His heart tightened, his breathing became heavy. The illness seemed to be rising, making him almost unable to stand. Afraid that if he delayed even another second, he would collapse in front of everyone. Hang gritted his teeth and forcefully pushed Nhat away. His voice was hoarse, tired but cold. "Go home. There's nothing left to hold on to." In her agony, Hang turned her back, trying to hide the exhaustion that was engulfing her body. He silently walked into the small hut, closing the door behind him, as if closing off everything that remained of their love. Outside, Nhat stood still. She watched his figure disappear, tears falling incessantly. No calling, no clinging, only a woman left, silently bidding farewell to her love, disappearing in despair. In front of Nhat at this moment, her mother could no longer restrain herself. Overwhelmed with resentment, she gripped her daughter's hand tightly, pulling her to turn and walk away. Her voice rose, a mixture of anger and sorrow. "Enough, my child. We don't need a man who betrays us like that anymore." She tightened her grip on Nhat's hand even more, as if afraid that if she let go, her daughter would collapse again. "Go home, my child. I will find you a better, more deserving man." At that moment, Hang's mother stood motionless, her eyes staring blankly as Nhat and her mother disappeared into the distance. She turned to look at her son, a sudden, indescribable feeling of emptiness welling up inside her. For the first time, she asked herself, was what she had just done right or wrong? Gone was the earlier resolve. Only a mother remained, beginning to feel the heavy price of a decision that might have gone too far. In the silent shack, Hang could no longer hold on. He slumped to the ground, gasping for breath, the relapse of his illness gripping his chest. In his ears, his mother-in-law's words from earlier echoed incessantly, overlapping and agonizing. Then the image of Nhat appeared, tears in her eyes, a desperate embrace, her trembling figure as he pushed her away. All of it felt like needles piercing Hang's heart. A heavy feeling of guilt overwhelmed him, a suffocating pain, because more than anyone else, he understood clearly, the one who suffered the most in this story was never him, but the woman whom he had loved with all his life. Once they were out of sight of the shack, the mother's composure seemed to vanish. She suddenly stopped, then embraced Nhat tightly, and burst into sobbing tears. Her cries were choked with emotion, a painful release of all the pent-up feelings, crying for her daughter, crying for her daughter's unfortunate fate, and also for her own life and family, having to bear so much misfortune. In her mother's arms, Nhat silently wept along, the two of them embracing on the deserted road, as if they could only rely on each other to continue through a life that had just been utterly shattered. Even I can't hold back my tears at this point. A love so deep, a marriage that weathered so many storms together, ultimately ended in pain and tears. But is this truly the end of that love? Or behind those cruel words, is there still a hidden truth left unsaid? Please join me in the next episode to find out how this story will take next. Thank you so much for listening, empathizing, and staying with the story until the very end.